On my mind, gotta hustle and grind. Financial literacy always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Reckless Raidinero, and we are back at it again for another episode of Crypto Portfolio Updates. Before we get started, I want to make sure you guys hit the like button. Definitely helps me out if you are hate watching, hoping that I fail while watching me win. Definitely hit the thumbs down button. Also gives feedback. If you've been here more than 2 times, I'm expecting a subscribe. I'm expecting a subscription. I'm expecting you to support the platform because you, whether you like it or not, even if you hate me and hate this channel, you are a part of the wolf pack. And I want you to win. Even if you're just trying to win against me, if you want to do better than me, if you want me to just crash and burn, I want you to win at whatever you're doing. So hit that subscribe. Also, share this with your friends. You should be talking to your friends about money. You should be talking to your family about money. People who talk about money tend to have more money than people who don't talk about money. And I'm not saying like beating it down the throat. It's just like, talking about strategies. Like, hey, what are you trying to do to get ahead this year? What are you trying to do to get ahead with the year coming up? What are we doing different with the finances? If you don't like where you're at, start making plans with your friends. Because there's nothing better than coming up with the people that were around you to begin with that know you better than anybody else. So we're going to jump into it. First and foremost, Bitcoin has still yet to touch 100K. Now, by the time this airs the week of the turkey, we might hit 100K. It looks like we're trying to, at the time of this recording, it has pulled back a little bit. We bounced off of, what is it? We bounced off of right at 100K. Right at it. We were within like $400 and got rejected. Rejection's a terrible thing, but we got rejected. And then we were just sitting around 99. It was like 98, 99. And then we touched 96 today. I was looking at the markets throughout the day today while I was getting some stuff done. And we bounced. And we bounced down a little bit, but it's like, I'm looking at the sentiment. People are like, oh, the market's, Bitcoin's crashing to the high price that it was last week. And I just chuckled at myself. I'm like, you know what? Let the kids have their fun. They're making these clickbaity videos. And, I gotta start competing. I gotta start getting into it too. So you're probably gonna get some clickbaity videos where you get in here and you think we're gonna talk about one thing and it goes a different direction. But I generally kind of talk about where my thoughts and my sentiments are at because I feel like somebody's got to tell you guys the truth, and it might as well be me. So let's go ahead and bring to the screen. And actually, I am not needed for this because you can still hear my voice. The CoinGecko, shout out to CoinGecko. We get our up-to-date conversation pieces, stuff to talk about, and the overall look at the market over here. So we're going to start off with Bitcoin dominance, which is sitting at 55.8%. Ethereum dominance is at 11.6%. Hold up a second. Let me get over here. And let's look at... Oh. Hold on. There we go. Hold on a second. We're getting logged back in so we can see what's going on here. Perfect. That's what I wanted to see. Holdings. Okay. So we're in here now. And so gas fees are at 6.91 Gwei. To correlate that over for those of you who are not in the know, that's averaging. I did a couple of trades right before I started recording. Moving money around, it's about $1 to send large quantities of money. It's $1.77. The trade that I initiated was $1.30. Smart contract interaction was $6. Acceptable fees for me. Because, as long as it's over a couple of $100, those fees I can deal with. I can deal with. They're going to chip at you a little bit. Fees are annoying. They are never fun. But I'm not going to complain about it. I'm enjoying these low fees because I remember when it was much higher and I had to use much larger amounts of money. And so being able to move a small amount of money definitely is exciting to me. It makes me happy, it makes me feel good. And yeah, so let's keep it moving. We are looking at the top 3 trending coins. At number 1, we have MAD. At number 2, we have Solidus AI Tech. And at number 3, one of the ones that's on our list, Celestia. I'm loving that. Loving that. Moving over to the top 10 gainers and losers. Actually, top 5. We do 5 over here. We do not do 10. I'm not reading off 10. I would lose my voice if I did that. Actually, I probably wouldn't lose my voice. I would just start stumbling over words. But this is a good looking day. Good looking day on the losers. We got healthy retracements. We got some 100 balls over on the win. Green numbers go up. I'm hoping that all of you are on the winning side of this list because stuff is starting to look interesting. At number 1 on the top 5 gainers, we have at rank 747 Token Bot with a gain of 101.8%. Big win over there. Hope you guys over the Token Bot holders are celebrating. You have earned it. You've probably been through some dark times, and here we are. First 100 ball of the day. At number 2, we have at rank 358 Lucky Coin with a gain of 72.2%. At number 3, one of the ones that I am looking at to potentially add to the portfolio as a backup position, we have at rank 70 the Sandbox with a gain of 60.6% in the last 24 hours. Stuff's going on over in the ecosystem. That's NFT and GameFi ecosystem there. Interesting stuff. At number 4, we have at rank 692, we have Dasha with a gain of 56.8%. And last but not least, at number 5, we have at rank 345 Per with a gain of 55.3%. One of the things I'm excited about, we're starting to see some actual projects show up on the top 5. That's a good sign. People are getting into the market and they're starting to find stuff that aren't meme coins, which is great. Now, moving on to the top 5 losers, I hope that you're not on this list, but I hope that if the coins that you are looking at are on this list, you are looking at it as an opportunity for a healthy reinvestment or a healthy entry point, healthy pullbacks. And I hope that you're not getting rug pulled. So let's get into it. At number 1 on the top 5 losers of the day, we have a rank 442, Dolos the Bully, down 23.6%. The bully's getting bullied. At number 2, at rank 162, we have Kusama, down 19.6%. At number 3, we have at rank 931, Navi Protocol, down 18.5%. At number 4, we have at rank 834, Katana, down 18%. And last but not least, at rank 757, we have GME on Ethereum, down 17.3%. Moving on, before we jump over into the portfolio, we got to give a couple of updates. We are finally broken above 10%. I got as high as 12%. We are catching up. Actually, let me go ahead and make sure. S&P 500 year to... Oh, God, bless me. Okay, let's take a look here. I got to go over to Market Watch real quick and take a look and see where we're at year to date. Year to date, the S&P 500 is doing well. They are up 25.5%. I'm getting stomped out by the S&P 500 in this crypto portfolio, the active crypto portfolio. Now, my Bitcoin, my long-term holding portfolio is absolutely decimating the S&P 500, but That is not the focus of what we're doing, because we built this portfolio out. We finally got above 10%. We got a long way to go to catch up. We need alt season to kick in immediately. Immediately. Good Lord. Because right now we're only 10.8% in profit. And that is not good for what we want our crypto to do. Now, the majority of my holdings, my long-term portfolio, like I said, completely demolishing the S&P. Not even a question. But this portfolio, the goal of it is to get as many gains as possible so that we can buy more Bitcoin and Ethereum and Chainlink. So we got to wait for this. We got to wait for altcoin season to start. This is a slow burn. But obviously, you got to take your L's and you got to take your licks. So this portfolio in general, as it sits right now, I would have been better off putting all of this money into the income portfolio, because the income portfolio is also beating the S&P 500. My long-term holdings portfolio on the TradFi side is also beating the S&P 500. And it might be something that we're going to be looking at moving forward, is funding everything out of the income portfolio, because it just, while you're waiting for these gains to come in, it would have been more advantageous for me to have put the amount that's in this portfolio, which is around, I'd say about, after we audited out the USD, probably about like $45,000 would have been better put in the income portfolio, because then I could be talking about not going to work no more. That would have been nice. It's something, we've already started down this road, so it's not something that I'm going to even consider. I am seeing this through. But funding everything out of that income portfolio, that's the reason I've gradually moved my focus over to the income portfolio as far as where my cash lands first. Just because the more income I could kick out of that portfolio, the better off I would be in regards to purchasing into these positions, because then I am forced to dollar cost average, because I would only be able to enter the markets as those funds came in, and I would, it might put a little bit of a limiter on me. Plus, it's a pain trying to get it out of my paycheck, which is now my take home. The dividends are actually above that. So, like, as we get higher and higher up, I'm going to get into where I have more expendable income, and I am not one who is solely focused on putting my income in the income portfolio back into the income portfolio. Unfortunately, I don't have the same belief in the traditional financial space as I do in crypto, because like my crypto, I never pull money out. And even though I'm not necessarily adding money back in to this fund, I did do a little bit of a buy-in today. I might actually start putting money in again, specifically to get altcoins. I might actually start allocating a chunk out of my income portfolio to do that, to keep the altcoins alive, because I'm definitely wanting to buy before alt season, because there's a few positions that I am interested in getting into. So we might start skimming some money out of there, doing some extra crypto buys. And yeah, just kind of funneling it in, because I obviously am not in a space to where I want to take it out of my regular check anymore, outside of the Bitcoin standard, because we did pass by that threshold. But the income money, that's investment money too, and so it's just cycling more back into the investment. So we might be looking at that moving forward. But yeah, we're still not beating the S&P 500. That's the moral of the story. Like, if I would have just invested in Solana, like I've got a couple of duds already that we're going to see if they pull anything out during the blow off top. But we had some investments that did not go our way. That was projected out. That, I'm not perfect at this. No one is. So what you're wanting is your winners to carry the losers. This is kind of like a VC hedge fund portfolio that's way more volatile. So we got our duds. We've got some certified winners. We've already gotten our original investment back from Radium. We have redistributed that. We have started a position in Aave. which has now, I believe, made it into the top 10. So let's go ahead and jump into this top 10, and then we can talk about what I'm doing before Bitcoin hits 100K. At number 1, we have Solana. At number 2, we have Injective. At number 3, at number 1, we have Solana, SOL. At number 2, we have Injective, INJ. At number 3, we have Ethereum, ETH. At number 4, we have Radium, RAY. At number 5, we have Super. At number 6, we have Immutable, IMX. At number 7, we have Akash Network, AKT. At number 8, we have Jupiter Perpetual Liquidity Provider Token. Man, that's a mouthful. JLP. At number 9, we have Wrap Bitcoin. Oh, and at number 10, we have Celestia, Tia. Oh, Tia edged out Aave for the number 10 spot. Aave's working its way up there. I'm actually hit my level for Aave. Obviously, we're looking at getting these positions to be at a minimum of $1,000. So if I am looking at what position we were going to be next. I was planning on getting some more Celestia, and I still might, but it is running. So like we might just let that sit there. Mutable X also giving some good run right now. I'm liking that. Like we're starting to see some pops in the altcoin space. Radium's the only one that we've hit the 3X on. Oh my goodness. Allergies and stuff in eyes. That is where we're at today. Radium is not performing as well, but the position overall, we hit our 300% on that. So we got to roll that initial investment over into Aave. Aave, I did one more buy today. That was my last buy. That was the move that we made. Now we're talking about what we're doing before Bitcoin hits 100K. We probably have a week as of this video. We might be at 100K. We might not be. It depends on what the market decides to do going into Monday. This is Turkey Day week. We have a banking holiday on Thursday. Question is, what are people going to do? Are they getting the notice? Because the first thing that we've got to understand is it is not retail that is buying right now. It is institutions. The buys are very large. I'm going to probably say this until retail gets the picture. I think that once Bitcoin hits that 100K metric, people like round numbers. You'll start to see people start FOMOing in. I've had people reach out to me on the back end. Shout out to those of you who actually reach out to Reckless Rate and Arrow to ask questions and get my insight on things. I appreciate it. Makes me feel good. Hopefully I'm adding value to you, because it doesn't really matter how I feel. What matters is if you're getting something out of the interaction. But with that said, I believe that once we hit 100K, that's going to be the, oh no, like stuff's going on. This needs to happen. Like I've got to move quick. There's only so much time left. And retail will start filtering back in at that point. I think that once retail gets in, they'll go 100K. Bitcoin's too expensive. I want to get into altcoins. I'm looking at XRP, maybe a Solana if I've got a little bit more money. Matic or Pol, as whatever the current symbol for it is. All the dog coins. I'm trying to get rich next week. You're going to see a lot of that. But the point is, money will come flowing through the space into the space. And it will come as a flood. It will be a flood of retail buyers. And I think the retail will skirt around because Bitcoin will be boring. Ethereum will be boring. Into the more inexpensive. I'm hoping this goes up. I've seen people putting money in Stellar Lumens and posting about Stellar Lumens. I'm like, oh, Jesus, tell me you haven't been in the market without telling me you haven't been here for the past 10 plus years. But that's what happens. People want to be able to buy a lot of something and hope that something happens with it. And during this next 12 to 16 months, something will happen with it. And people are going to be like, hey, I'm a genius. They're just not realizing that, like, after the dust settles, it's only going to be a few things that are going to be moving forward. And it is what it is. That said, what I am doing is I will be focusing on altcoins. I'm going to start carving out a little bit of these astronomical dividend checks. And as I'm moving it over, before I put it towards the depth lobe, I might be skimming a little bit off to the side to get my hands on some more altcoins, because there's a few positions that I would like to be in. Obviously, we are reinvesting all of our income that's made within the DeFi space back into those positions as well. But I've got to pick out the next one because we just hit the limit on Aave. Celestia, I'm really considering doing another decent sized purchase on that to buy my average down. But we're gonna look at that because honestly, the Celestia boat has sailed. We are over $1,000 in that position, and it's bulldogged its way back up into the top 10. Like when it was sitting at $5 a couple of days ago, I was considering doing another large purchase on it to buy that down. But now that it's surging back up, I'm going to have to do some more research, do some looking, some soul searching, and see how I feel because I base my purchases off the previous all-time high. So all we have to do is go back to the previous all-time high, not passing the all-time high. And normally if I'm in the ballpark of the previous all-time high, I have made money. I have made a lot of money. And that's just the way that I shoot for these during a bull run and the way that I gauge my altcoins. Everyone who's talked to me, I'm like, my research is very simple because there's no tea leaving the altcoin space against popular belief unless you are active in the space and you kind of know something behind the scene that's going on. Like if you know actual partnerships are happening or actual capital is flowing to these projects, which 90% of us don't. We're all just watching random guys on YouTube like myself, giving their opinions on things and then making an assessment of our own. The way that I look at altcoins and choose my positions is very basic. It's very based on if it's a project that's been around, do they have a good community? Is the project still active? Is there a lot of buzz in these YouTube streets about said project? Are people that I believe have a good head on their shoulder in this space, for instance, such as Elio Trades, one of my favorites, talking about these positions? Are they talking about these coins? Are they on their radar? A little bit of great minds think alike proof. And then I look at what the previous all-time high was, where it's at now, and I'm like, is there a good enough spread in here to where if I get close to the previous all-time high, I can get my initial investment out of this and just let it keep running? Because that's all I care. All I honestly care about within this space is to be able to get my initial investment out of the investment and then let it run up a little bit more while taking additional amounts of that initial investment out as it runs up. That's the system that I have. That's the system that's worked for me. And I roll those into backup positions. So I'll have like a bunch of positions and some of them I won't get to. But then as you start hitting those 3x markers, which 3x for those of you who are unaware is 300%. So after the investment goes up 300%, I pull my initial investment out during the bull run season. Now, off bull run, bear market, it's a little bit different. Like we might be flipping stuff at 50 to 100%, do a 1x because crypto does move different than the traditional finance market. Also, another thing that happens during the bear market is you might be just indefinitely, if it's a project that you're actually building a position for the bull run, you might just be stacking that position. Like you could be red for a long time, like 3 years long, just buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying and buying, and then waiting for that bull run to come around. And then a lot of those times, positions like that, you'll hit astronomical. Because like think about it, the people who bought Sol when it dropped down to $8, I was not one of them. But there were people, I was going back and forth with them. I'm like, oh, they keep having to reboot it. I still say that they do, because they do. They keep having to reboot it. And I'm like, it's not a long-term hold for me. And it's not. But look at where it is from $8 now. It's at $2.50. And all those people ate crow and just kept buying and buying and buying and buying. And they were getting ready for this. And now that it's run up to this, now some of those people actually believe in the project. I think those people are insane. But one of the narratives that I would have applied to that is the VCs, because Solana is heavily VC funded, they're gonna get their money back. Like they are not trying to lose like that. Not like that. Like they'll lose something, but they ain't losing it all. And so in the case of Solana, after it got to about, I think I started buying at 60. I was like, okay, like from $8 to 60, and I was talking trash to these dudes the whole time. I had to actually sit back, humble myself, and take an actual look and go, you know what? These VCs are going to get their money back. And then I looked at like the previous all-time highs, and I'm like, okay, like I think Solana can get to 400. I can get my initial investment back at 400. Also, the ecosystem has ways for me to make money and build this position up so that when it hits 400 and I cash all these things out in Solana, I can go get my money back. I know I'm going to get my money back, and that's going to be a big bag right there. That's going to be a big reinvestment into some other coins once Solana hits $400. And I believe that's going to happen. Like as soon as that's my demarcation point for when I'm going to start dollar cost averaging out of that position and start reinvesting in other positions. That's my strategy. Doesn't have to be your strategy. Obviously, this is not financial advice. It's just a dude on the internet talking about what he's doing with his money. But those are things that I'm looking at and the positions that I'm making. Because like at this point, it starts getting kind of go time-ish for me as far as the bull run. Because I'm like, I want to get my positions in there because honestly, when stuff is blow off topping and you're seeing 100x is the fifth position on our top 5. And we're going, hey, this went up 600, this went up 1,000, this went up whatever, this went up whatever. And then it's like a number 5 at 100 and whatever percent. And that's the number 5 spot. You want to be selling off because everybody else is going to be scrambling and going, oh, this just went up 50,000%. I got to get some of that coin. And they're going to just start chasing the ones that are popping. And what happens is the people who are uninformed, the people who are uneducated, the people who don't know how this space works because they haven't been here for 11 years, they haven't been here for 10 years, they haven't been here for 4 years. You haven't been through a full cycle before. They're going to chase all the coins that are popping and they're going to buy the peaks and then the coins are going to dump and then they're just going to consistently lose money whittling down their capital pool. While those of us who have been here a long time, we're eating crow, just like those Solana guys that I was talking trash to. Back in 2023 over the summer when Solana was $8, screaming at the top of their lungs. I mean, they were buying below that, like when Solana was $5. And I was like, it's over. I said that. Who's been here for 11 years? I was like, yeah, dude, like, that ain't the one. But that wasn't one of my projects. And it's still not one of my projects. But I'm like, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm not looking free money in the mouth. I'm not that pretentious. So a lot of tokens, a lot of stuff, I'm just like, yeah, like you're going to do good for the next 12, 16 months. The question is, what happens after that? What happens when the money flows into and it just starts coalescing in the spots where it's like, hey, these are things that people are actually long on. Now, if Solana somehow gets an ETF, I might change my opinion. I think XRP should be in line for an ETF before Solana because XRP actually works and is being used, and they don't have to reboot because it's not centralized. But I mean, those are semantics. But if they did, I'm like, okay, that's a different conversation. But I'm not going to pass up the upside that I know is coming because I have an attitude about that chain because I don't have to use it. I choose to use it. I use it. And like when it's up, it works great. Buttery smooth. Love it. The issue is when they have to reboot it, my money's trapped there. And it's a lot. Like it's a noticeable amount of money. It's like an amount of money that I care about. So that doesn't sit well with me. So I'm like, oh, I'm not sitting this here long term. Like I'll go take my money elsewhere. But what I'm focused on right now is I am focused on altcoins. Like Bitcoin's going to do what it's going to do. We're positioned on that. We have the Bitcoin standard. I'm constantly buying Bitcoin anyway. This portfolio is solely to blow up, get me multiple bags so that I can get all the Ethereum I can get my hands on because we are trying to get to 32. That means I need 27 more. That's a lot of Ethereum. So we need this portfolio to explode. That's all I'm saying. And you know, that's where we're gonna let that lie. But I do have one thing that I want to show you guys before we get out of here that's on a news related tip, because there's some big news going on in the crypto space that's going to affect the American markets. And it's this guy, the incoming CEO for Charles Schwab, feels silly for not buying crypto. Now, this is one of the things that, as being here for over 10 years, I can tell you I've been here before. Individuals do not have to report anything that they hold asset-wise, whether you're a CEO or not, it doesn't matter. You don't have to publicly disclose that. So you can go publicly and lie about it. For instance, back in 2013, the CEO of JP Morgan was clearly stating all over any media, any publication that asked him about crypto was telling people that it was for women of the night and ne'er-do-wellers, and that only criminals were involved in it. Meanwhile, he himself was involved with it. A lot of the banking execs, a lot of the traditional finance gurus, Bitcoin's terrible. Nobody should be using it. It's terrible. It's going to destroy America. It's going to destroy financial systems. It's for criminals. It's for dark organizations. It's only on the black web. And here we are now, fast forward. BlackRock's involved. JP Morgan's involved. They're all involved. So when the incoming CEO of Charles Schwab, seems like a nice guy, Rick Wurster, he's the worster, says that he feels silly. I just think that he's lying and giving some lip service to the media. You know what? I'm fine with him feeling silly. I am. I truly am. Because it's better than him coming in and being like, I hate crypto. And the reason he's saying he's feeling silly, and this is actually the news, because there's a Telegraph and then there's the news. So the Telegraph is he feels silly because apparently he doesn't have any crypto, which I think is complete BS. I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. The news is Charles Schwab is looking at doing spot Bitcoin trading, where you can buy Bitcoin through them. And why is that? Because wealthy people and people who are aspiring to be wealthy, such as myself, a lot of them, with the exception of Bitcoin, but these older people, the non-digital natives, they want to keep all their stuff. They don't want to have a Charles Schwab account. They don't want to have to get into the crypto, a Coinbase account or a Gemini account or whatever means, or their Cash App or PayPal or wherever you're buying your crypto. They don't want to have to get in there to buy their crypto. What they want to do is get into their brokerage account and have the ability to buy crypto there. And I'm not going to fault them for it. Am I going to do it? No, because they're probably not going to let you transfer that Bitcoin out. And I don't like that. I self-custody. The only if I don't have the ability to get that to a cold storage wallet, I'm not going to use it. So me personally, I don't want those things commingled unless there's a definitive way to get the Bitcoin out. Period. I didn't use Cash App. When I first saw that there was Bitcoin on there, I threw a little bit of money in there to test it. And when it first launched, you couldn't withdraw. And I didn't use it again until I could withdraw. And I just had that little bit of Bitcoin sitting there for however long it took. Because I don't even remember when they started allowing it. But when they did, I was like, yes, I need to be able to withdraw my Bitcoin. Great. Been off to the races and using it ever since. Probably paying more than I need to, but it's a great on-off ramp. You can sell it, you can buy into the market easily, you can sell out of the market easily. I'm pretty sure there's a referral for my Cash App down in the description. Use my link if you don't have it. I mean, who doesn't have a Cash App at this point? But that's kind of the way that I go about doing these things. Now, actually, I need to do that too, because but as I'm looking at the landscape, like, everyone is slowly bending the knee. This is the reality. Bitcoin's not going anywhere. And the fact that people are still having this conversation in 2024 is wild to me. There's no use for crypto. Well, there's a use for Bitcoin. Countries have seen a use for Bitcoin. Institutions have seen a use for Bitcoin. BlackRock has released a publication to their investors that says that any risk on portfolio should be 85% Bitcoin. What do you know that these people who have an order of magnitude more money than the people having the conversation collectively put together have? What do you know? What's your secret sauce? And also, where's your portfolio and where are your results? Because if you're that good, you should be running a hedge fund. Or at minimum, you yourself should be rich or darn close to it, or documenting it like old Reckless Ray Dinero is over here. Because I do think I'm pretty decent. The numbers speak for themselves. With that said, so I mean, the Charles Schwab's incoming CEO, I'm excited for it. He's not old. He doesn't seem like a geriatric old man. And we're kind of all done with that. We're kind of all done with that. I think that our current president needs to be the last old man. No, not complaining, but I'm just saying, like, we need to get some fresh blood in here. We need to get younger people in general in charge, like people who know how computers work and stuff, in charge of things. And there's a lot of young blood coming into the Trump administration. I'm excited about. There's some ideas. Everybody's complaining about everything. I'm like, touch and go. Let's see how it works out. Give them a chance. Like, it's gonna be a little spiel, and we're gonna get out of here. But I just don't understand the logic behind your team. First off, I don't understand the logic behind being on a team, period. I understand the value sets, whatever. But like being on a team to the tune that when like your team loses dramatically in a horrendous fashion, like people are sick of it. Then pivoting to, well, I hope the whole country burns because my team didn't win, even though you two live here, so you would be involved in the burning. Like, let's just see what's going on. I'm always excited for fresh, young ideas, especially in politics, because it seems like the people who have been running things previously, people who've been running these companies, like look at Ray Dalio, love his ideology. I like the methodology. He's contributed a lot to the financial space, but he's old. And he is set in his ways. And he is not changing. And he does not want to pivot. They are still blocking people from getting access to Bitcoin-related products over there. Great. The future happens whether you like it or not, though. That's kind of the problem. So as we're bringing in these younger CEOs that have fresh ideas, that understand how things work, that have, or at least a closer ear to the streets of what's going on out here, I think that we're going to have some more opportunities open up, and maybe things become a hair less draconian. Maybe, I don't know, because I mean, while I understand the financial game and I'm fine with the cutthroat feast or famine, you get what you kill, I understand that. I also don't think that we should have people like unable to buy eggs. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me either. But while I can point out that like not everything in the system is perfect, I'm not going to be the person who's losing and destitute and has ashy knuckles and is starving to death and can't repair a car or get tires changed while complaining about those things. Like, I'm not going to be at the bottom of any system, because like those people get it worse no matter what. And as the system changes, as we pivot, we're pivoting right now. The left transfer is happening right now in front of your face while I'm talking to you, while you're listening to this, while you're watching this. And a lot of you are being passed by because you're complaining about everything and doing nothing to change your situation. It's terrible what some other people have to go through, but I don't have to go through it for me to go, that's terrible. I'm not going to be in that position. I'm going to be the catalyst. I'm going to be the catalyst for change. And as we're moving towards whatever system we're going to be in, I will advocate to the end of the days for everyone to get a fair shot. It's not that you get a given outcome, but for everyone to get a fair shake. That's the best you can get. That's as good as this gets, is a fair shake. And if you're not willing to take advantage of those opportunities, if you're not heeding the message, if you're not listening to people like myself, if you're not listening to people like Elio Trades, if you're not listening to people like the Modern Investor, I don't agree with a bunch of his rhetoric, but at least he's trying to help in a very Canadian, I have a bias and maybe my country's paying me to spread false information and propaganda type of way, but at least he's giving you some solid information that can move you from one income boat to another income boat so that you got a little bit more mobility. Maybe. If you're choosing to ignore those, like, again, and it's one of the things I always say when I'm in the comments on his videos, the indecision to act is upon the individual. You can't force somebody who is indoctrinated into a victimhood mindset, who has chosen to have a mind that is impoverished, who has chosen that they are going to just forever be the victim and have no accountability of the agency of their life or their financial trajectory or anything that happens to them. You can't force them to make decisions that are going to benefit them later because they don't think about later. They don't believe in later, so therefore later does not exist for them, even though in reality later does exist for them and is probably going to be terrible. We are going to leave it at that for today. I want to thank you guys for tapping in. I want to thank you guys for plugging in and reprogramming your brains, because I am definitely counter the financial matrix that we live in, adamantly so. And I'm always going to try to add as much value as I can and put as many cracks in those ingrained, seeded misconceptions and purposefully instilled thought processes and ideology that the current financial matrix that you're most likely in has built around your brain. I'm going to prick at it every week. I'm going to put those cracks in there so that you can hopefully see, so that you can come out of the cave and realize that there's a world of opportunity out here that is so vast. There's so many tools that we have, so many things that are happening, and that you are in the midst of the greatest wealth transfer that anyone in this time period has seen right now. We are living history, people, and you got to go out there and grasp that opportunity. Till next week, folks, it's your boy, Reckless Ray De Niro, and we are out. Did you hit the like button? Because you thought I was going to say peace, but I want to make sure that you hit the like button or the dislike button. And I also want to make sure that if you're here, I'm going to reiterate this every time at the end of the show. If you've been here more than twice, I'm expecting the subscription. I want to see your name pop up on my subscribers list as a new subscriber. And welcome to the Wolf Pack, because you're a part of it. So even if you don't want to be a part of something, you're a lone wolf, well, you're part of a pack of lone wolves now. Get ready, because we're going to the top, baby. Also, share this with somebody who you think would benefit from this information, because nobody wants to get rich by themselves. Talk to your friends, talk to your family about money. Those who talk about money tend to have more than those who do not talk about money. It's your boy, Reckless Ray De Niro. Till next week, peace.
Money on my mind, yeah. Focus, got no time for games, nah. I don't play, man, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.